Hello, my dear students. Today I am going to deliver a lecture on a very important theme, and that is end of the Cold War and emergence of American hegemony. Once we were in the period of Cold War situation, what we have seen that there were bipolarity. Two powers were, in terms of power equation, they were similar in terms of military capability and economic capability, and therefore one was the Soviet Union, and on the other side it was the United States of America. But as we have been watching that how one of the superpower, which was the USSR, Soviet Union, was weakening day by day because of decline in ideology, decline in economy, economic crisis, and many other challenges which Soviet Union was facing at that time during the Cold War era. And finally, it has ended almost at the period 1989. Once we have seen that after the end of the Cold War, that was 1989. Once we have seen the one of the superpower got declined, and then the world has entered into an arena of one power dominance, or that that has resulted the unipolarity or unipolar world. And what is this unipolar world or unipolarity? This is a very important concept which we all have to understand, and particularly our students. And unipolarity is a concept in international relations which is used that one once the international system is regulated or influenced by one hegemon power, by one dominant power, by one hefty power alone, not any other power. And that is what the scholars have been, they have been explaining it in international relation. That means the United States of America became the sole superpower after the end of the Cold War, once the Cold War has ended in 1989. And that means the United States of America remained only the one superpower or hyperpower or dominant power in international system. In other words, from the military point of view, from economic point of view, from diplomatic point of view, from the NATO forces point of view, and many other points of view, what we have seen that it was the United States of America which remained, in limelight in international system as one of the dominant superpower or hyperpower. There are two terminologies. Some of the scholars, they believe that America remained as a superpower, but there are some of the other scholars who would tell you a different story, that America remained as a hyperpower. And there's a difference between these two terminology. One is a hyperpower and one is a superpower. When I am saying a superpower, that means a dominant power, okay, or a powerful country, okay, in international arena or international system. But when I am using the term hyperpower, uh, which was used once upon a time by the French foreign minister, uh, Vadrin. His name is Herbert Vadrin. And he said, when we say hyperpower, what is hyperpower? When one superpower, one a dominant power or a core state or hegemon state is controlling or influencing in all the fields, whether it is military, whether it is economy, whether it is in cultural field, in all other fields, once the one dominant power will be dominating all over all other states, that means we call it hyperpower. We call that power hyperpower. And therefore the hyperpower term was used for by French minister, foreign minister. His name is Herbert Vedrin, for United States of America, that after the end of the Cold War, what we have seen, that it was the United States of America which remains only the hyperpower. And once we are saying the unipolarity, so unipolarity was the, after the end of the Cold War, we have seen the international system entered into a new phase or new world order emerged, which is called the unipolar world, where there was a one power dominance. And still we are living in a situation where United States of America is the most powerful country on the planet, and there is undoubtedly speaking. But there are other scholars that what we have seen, in a contemporary world, in a recent world, that we have seen also the rise of other powers have become, it has become the reality. And whether it is a China, whether it is India, whether it is Malaysia, Brazil, Mexico, or you have the European countries, you have, for example, Germany, France, you have United Kingdom, you have other Canada, and some of the countries in Latin America like Brazil and Mexico. So the rise of South has also become reality, that previously we have seen a lot of poverty in the Eastern world, but that has now, there is a paradigm shift. We have also the rise of China and other powers have become the reality in international system. So they will prefer a term also that we can say we also live in a multipolarity, where there is a presence of many other powers. Okay. uh, I think American hegemony becomes a reality after the end of the Cold War, and once the one superpower got declined in terms of its superiority, in terms of its military capability, and ideologically it has been during the Gorbachev regime. And after 1989 onwards, what we have seen, that we have entered in an era which is called unipolarity or unipolar world. And that in this era, unipolarity, in unipolar world, the entire international system and all the other countries globally, they were influenced, regulated, by one super dominance, or there was a lot of monopoly or hegemony of one state, one superpower, that was United States of America. So but at the same time, there was a possibility, and we have seen the rise of other powers emerging very fast. Uh, that is that we call multipolarity. So multipolarity is also, it was also a possibility after the end of the Cold War, and but most of the scholars, we still live in a unipolar world, where American dominance and American hegemony, or an American monopoly is over there. Or in other words, we can say America has become the hyperpower. Hyperpower means that America became the sole superpower in the world, because it was dominating all over all other countries of the world. In terms of, in the field of military capability, in the field of economic capability, in the field of cultural dominance, in the field of many other fields. So America become the hyperpower. Okay. So let's see who is to how many years we are going to live under unipolarity, and is there any chances of multipolarity in future, that we are going to be governed by bipolarity again or multipolarity again. But that is a that is something like which is a contested issue. But still, the entire world, the international system or international relations or international affairs, is governed, influenced by one power dominance, and that is United States of America. So we are still under unipolarity or unipolar world. Let's wait for that. What would be the next system is going to dominate, going to be dominant in international relations. Thank you so much for hearing my lecture. See you for next time.